Hey, here are from our friends in C506. Again, we're over here again with our friend Cisco from Bandai, who's going to talk to us. But do you remember our last interview? We were talking about the Anime Heroes line and the new releases
Yeah,
and the pre-sale that I think that they are being released in April. The last products we were talking about last time.
correct. Yes.
And now Cisco, well, you have new things to announce to us, and we can talk a little bit more about
Of
what's
course.
coming for Bandai and or its all its lines, right?
Absolutely. I'm glad to be back.
Okay, so Cisco, so how the pre-sale went for the Anime Heroes new figures?
They've been doing really, really strong. We're really happy with it. When we announced, there was a lot of fan excitement about it, and of course, the question is what's going to happen next, and when are the next figures coming out, and so we have a couple things in the works, but we're starting to even like ship product now. It'll be in stores within the next like 3 to 4 weeks, just depending on where it's available at retailers, but we have final product in, and we were shooting some product videos for it last week, and so I'm really happy how they turned out.
Okay, so what are the new stuff you have for us this
Yeah,
time?
let me show you. I'm gonna pull over here, so I'm gonna step off camera for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna put it here, and then I can switch to our close-up camera. So, so obviously this is one piece, and again, right? It's the best-selling manga of all time, and these things came out fantastic, right? So these aren't models. This is actual product, right? So first of all, we have Luffy, right? And I'm gonna take him off of his stand right here, just because he's not gonna sort of fall over. But even if I put him right next to the camera, um,
Mm-hmm.
again, like it's great detail. We can see he has his hat on the back,
Mm-hmm.
and he comes with interchangeable hands. He has four pairs. Even the
Yeah.
articulation, right? I mean, everything from the wrists to the joints to the elbows to the shoulders. There's like 16 different points. So, depending on how you want to pose him, he's great. We have Sanji over here, right? And he has also great. I'm really happy with the face deco that we have with Sanji. Like it looks spot on, right?
Greatly
And if
detailed.
you're fans in the show, like it's pretty uncanny and well how we're able to do this, and even the texture of
Mm-hmm.
his coat, and he has his little accessory black legs that he comes on here, so that's a lot of fun. But I think my favorite is Zoro, right? I'm gonna switch over to this side. So even if we look at him on package, right,
Yeah,
we can even
that's
see, right, like just the number of accessories, right, that are available to him are really, really nice. And
yeah.
so this
Actually,
version,
last time, well, we saw the figures just a
uh-huh,
little bit, but we didn't have the chance to see the package, and
yeah,
actually they look pretty well on that blister, you know.
yeah, they look really good. And then we can see sort of on the back here, they have the first three that show up,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then, we have the color coding here, and then we can see, and even if you compare like the picture, like the side by side of, the face together, it looks spot on. And oops, that drops Luffy here.
That's
What's
okay. He can stretch.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. What's really neat is if you even look at like the detail on the
Yeah.
swords that he has, right? And these things, I don't know if you can see it. So like they come out, like they move. They're not just molded in there. So that's one sword, that's two swords, right? And then we have three swords right here, right? So
It looks
in terms of
really
just
good.
being accurate to the show and
Mm-hmm.
what he's really made of, and then on top of it, um, like even the sword can come out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, right, there's three empty places in the scabbard, right? So depending on how accurate you want to be, this can fit in without bending too much, because I'm working backwards with the camera. Like
I
it'll fit in
understand.
each of these scabbards, right? Or you can have all three and you can put both of these into the slot where they fit in, right? So in terms of how you want to be able to display them, I think this is my personal favorite because who doesn't like swords? But these ones are really, really popular. They're doing quite well. And so it's just a matter of how well they're going to sell through, when they're going to be into Walmart and Target, starting in April.
In April. And well, the last time we spoke, also we were talking about the that anime heroes line is very important because they are playable figures, but
Yep.
also they are very affordable. So,
Yeah.
and getting all that high quality product for
Hmm.
that price is something that maybe not everybody notice, but you say, ah, yeah, I have this cheap figure, but oh, it broke on after 3 days of playing.
Right.
So that's a good thing on an anime heroes. And now that we can see the full, the package, the blister, the all the art on that, I think that they're going to be big sellers. And now that after this post, how can we say it? Post presidential elections, post
Uh-huh.
holidays, post COVID. Now that you're starting to get, people are starting to get the vaccine, things like that. I think that pretty much people are going to go to the physical place and buy it because there are still romantics over there that need to see the figure, to fall in love with it, maybe with its hands and everything. But also the online sales, I think that have been very good for Bandai in the meantime. Is that
They
correct?
have been. I mean, even industry wide, like I mean, it's no secret, right? Like online sales have gone up because just there's physical stores are closing. But as people are getting more used to going in a store and retail, I mean, there's still nothing that competes with a physical environment, right? Like
Hmm.
as people, you're looking at a screen and you can see so much, but when you walk into a store, right, your field of vision, you can see lots of different things and process information at a very quick tempo, right? And even in terms of with the packaging here, like it's different than anything else that's out there, right? So it's really going to pop out on shelf, and it's something that we didn't do by mistake, right? We planned for this. Everything in terms of the color coding, how this fits next to like the Naruto line, right? Which is that bright like yellow orange color that stands out really well to sort of complement the line. It's something that we're really proud of. I mean, and to your point, like it's 1999, right? So for that price and the level of quality and craftsmanship,
It's
like it really is really good. I mean, yeah, it's an action figure and it's a toy and you can play with it, but
hmm
because they're so posable and you can put them in so many different positions and styles and next to each other, they're like figurines and statues, right? Like there are people who are
yeah.
spending $200 or $300 on ceramic, figures that don't move, right? And depending on your mood, if you just want to change things up, like these provide a high quality level of detail and craftsmanship, but you can change things a little bit. I mean, even something as simple as, tilting the head 2 or 3 degrees in this direction versus that direction. I mean, it tells a different story, right? And that really what Bandai is about. It's telling the story through the products that we sell, right? And so
hmm
for fans who really like One Piece or Naruto or just getting into it, right? This provides a way to own a piece of the show and of the anime that you either love or are rediscovering for the very first time.
Now that you say that about people buying porcelain figures for $300
Mhm.
and non-mobile, non-articulated figures, things like that, they even spend $300 in plastic figures that don't that cannot be posed. So I understand your point on that. And now that you're talking about the toys and the action figures and the community, so what what do you think? What is the importance of toys and action figures for people during these lockouts? That you could not go out
Mhm.
uh, because of pandemics, or in some states because of the weather, things like that. And the action figures maybe were your only way to don't go crazy, probably. That creating your own stories. What do you think? Do you think that action figures were actually, sorry, they had an important role during the lockout?
You know what? I think they did, right? So obviously there's been a huge digital, renaissance, right, over the last 20 years in terms of from the first console games to now like sort of the next gen. And so they're beautiful to look at and they're fun and they're interactive. And depending on the game, you can easily pump out 30, 40, 50, 60 hours playing through something, right? And those are great. And we're not knocking them. And even our sister company, Bandai Namco, they come up with some great games as well. But what's also important to remember is that we are physical creatures also, right? We live in a physical world. And at a certain point in time, you want to hold something. You want to see something that is tangible and something that is real, right? And that's why I think action figures have weathered the test of time so well. I mean, from the dawn of time, people have either crafted little figures in wood or the first action figures. Like, that isn't new, right? It satisfies, there's a primal need that we all have to see and touch and hold something, right? And the technology of action figures has improved over the last 50 or 60 years. Everything from the articulation to the molding to the sculpture to the paint job, like all these things. So it's actually moving in tandem with, as technology rises, it's not just digital technology, it's physical technology as well, in terms of how you make a great action figure at an affordable price that looks just like that thing that you're playing with, right? Whether it's going to be a game, whether it's something that you're watching. So I think overall, in terms of how action figures have sort of weathered the storm of the pandemic, I mean, obviously we've seen the sales, so we knew it's doing quite well. But I think what's reassuring is that it reminds us that things still stay relatively the same, right? People still have the need to buy gifts for people, right? Mm-hmm. One thing is buying a game, another thing is wrapping up a gift, right? In terms of handing somebody something, a physical thing they can touch and hold, I think has a great value, just even intrinsically, but also with an action figure and all of the Anime Hero lines. I think there's almost like 12 of them now within the entire line. It's something that's growing and it's adding to a collection, which means that you're looking forward to that next thing, right? And that's why we created Anime Heroes in the first place, right? So people are going to ask, what's going to be that next property? What's going to be that next character? It creates an anticipation and an excitement that I think is something that people need in their lives. So we're pretty happy to be part of that.
Yeah, you're right on that. And also people, to stop maybe taking action figures as something to put on their, on their on their bookshelves or things like that. Maybe some of them actually start playing with them again, which is the actual most basic function of a toy, right? But
correct.
Okay, so well, now that Anime Heroes are coming on April, I know that last time I tried to get something from you, but let's see if this time any news about what's coming for Anime Heroes line, new series, new characters for any of the three series you're working with right now.
So we have the three series, right? So we have One Piece, which is just coming out now. We have Naruto, right? And then we have Saint Seiya, right? Knights of the Zodiac. And we're close to announcing. We're not quite there yet. We're going to start. I'm working on a couple announcements right now. Probably that'll come out in the next 4 or 5 weeks. That we can't say just yet. But I like to say this when people ask, like, what's going to be that next thing? So if you can imagine, whether it's with Naruto or whether it's with One Piece or Saint Seiya, like if you can think of, if I had to choose the next figure, right, and you could think of like 5 off the top of your head, odds are like 2 of those 5 are probably going to happen, right? And in terms of how we think about it, we want something that's going to satisfy, the most serious of fan, but we can't go so deep that only like 100 people even know about it, right? Because we want to make sure that we expose a lot of people to characters that are recognizable, that will bring them into, watching anime, right? And being able to really love that content that we're used to seeing. So it's a delicate balance, but it's something that I think we do quite well. And it's something that we will continue to do in the future. So I can't reveal anything yet, but we're making more.
Any clue? Any clue? No, nothing.
I don't want to get myself in trouble, but let's see. If I had to give you, so I can say this. So for next in the Naruto line, we can say that it will be like another version of Naruto.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Now there's lots of them out there, right? So
yeah, I know.
But if
that's something.
If you follow the boards and social, you'll see something in the next few weeks that'll be exciting.
But everything is focused right now on only those 3 series. No new series in development yet.
Well, we do. We are talking with a few intellectual properties that we want to be able to put into the next Anime Heroes line. We're close on one or two. We have two or three that are more longer term that we're looking at. And so hopefully we'll be able to announce something in the next couple of months, but something's going to happen. We already know that. It's just a matter of making sure, you know, all the legal agreements are signed and making sure that we know what the right characters are going to be, because that's the next step, right? One thing is what's going to be the next character, right? But what's important is if I'm launching a new IP, right, that already exists, and I want to have the first three characters, like what should those first three characters be, right? They got to either be the most popular, right? Or they got to be the ones that are going to look the best in package or on shelf. So we sort of have to balance, you know, what's going to be, you know, people that they understand and they realize, oh, these are these characters versus, wow, that's a cool looking character, to draw them into the property even more.
Okay, well, you're hard to get, Cisco. You know, I was trying to get something, but that's okay. That's okay.
We'll get you eventually. I promise you.
A new Naruto, I think it's something good that we got, so that's okay. So now, besides Anime Heroes coming on April, well, now Bandai is, I understand they are releasing now something new, which are stages for the action figures. Is that correct?
Yeah. So what I'm going to do,
stages, scenarios, how would you call them?
You know, it really depends. I'm going to walk off camera real quick and set this over here. I'm going to bring our next thing over here, which is going to be really exciting. Depending on what you call it, some people say a playset, some people say a diorama, some people say it's like a display, right? And so I'm just going to make sure I have it here, and I'm going to turn this around so we can see. And I'm going to bring up the close-up camera. So apologies for the back and forth. I'm the only one in the studio here today.
That's okay.
Here we have, right, this is the Tenkaichi Budokai stage. I'm going to pan out a little bit in the camera just so we can see the whole thing.
Great.
There we go. Okay. So here we go. Can I get it even further back? I want to be able to give you a good picture. There we go. Okay. So, this obviously for Dragon Ball fans, this is very familiar, right? This is the martial arts tournament. That's the central part of the entire storyline. And so this particular one has been out for a little bit of time, but it's one of those pieces that you just sort of have to have, right? Because if you're gonna collect your characters, you need a place to put them, right? You just can't put them on a shelf or like on a stand, right? This is something that is made to be collected and to have your characters basically congregate around. So what's really great about this is that it's interactive. So besides just being a great looking stage for your characters, there's also have battle damage, right? So for example, like the floor out here, it switches out, right? So so if you see here, this is sort of like a little crater area. In the package, they come with one that looks just like this, right? That's like not broken. So you can always switch this out, right? And if you're going to pose the characters on either side, right, you can have one kind of lying down there when like Goku, when he was like defeated, he can be in that sort of crater area. But then on top of it, this comes with different damage, right? So you can have these different pieces that you can, you know, break apart,
crash them,
all different things, depending on how you want to display them, right? So depending on if you want a pristine version of the stage and have there, or if you want to reenact a particular scene or pose something, these things are great, right? And if I even turn it this way, you can almost see that there's a little channel right here that characters can even fit. So you can fit about 13, 14 Dragon Stars characters all on this one stage, right?
I was going to ask you about that if this is suited for a specific line, so it's for Dragon Ball Stars. Well, you know, you can put whatever you want, but I mean, it's suited for Dragon Ball Stars, correct?
Correct. So let me get a little switch my camera back so I can see a little bit better. Yes. So obviously there's lots of different scales, right? So you have like the 6-inch Dragon Stars, right? So the martial arts stage is from the Dragon Stars line, right? But there's like the Evolve figures, and those are sort of the 5-inch, right? And then we have like the Limit Breaker, which is like the 12-inch. So obviously, if it's a 12-inch, it's going to stand up like this, right? But if it's like your 6 or 5-inch, it can fit, right? So, but there's not like a rule, right? Dragon Ball fans can do whatever they want, or I've seen it, surprisingly enough, there's a lot of social fan groups out there, right? And they take pictures of their collections. More and more I'm seeing is folks are using this stage to post on Instagram or Facebook or on Reddit of their new collections, right? And fans are sort of competing with each other, just on their own, saying like, hey, who can do the best fight between Goku and Beerus, right? And so then they'll sort of have it here, or who can do the best stage with a surprise character. And so they're taking all the things that we've just given to them by providing product, right? And they're setting something up for the first time. So I think that's a real testament to how much fans love not just the product, but the overall property. And this just provides an additional way for them to celebrate, Dragon Ball, right? Because it's obviously it's a huge property with tons of characters. There's lots of different ways you can do it. So this is something we're really happy with, and we're looking at like what's the next kind of display that we can make that'll make sense, right? We want something that's going to be easily able to make and manufacture, right? Like we can't really do something that could not exist in real space or time, right? Just because it would be really hard to do. So whether it's going to be another setting or another time or a place where we're actively looking at what the next sort of display or play set that we're going to make. But even still, for like, for $30, it's a pretty good buy.
It's 30. Well, that's where it goes. So it's $30.
Yeah, $29.99.
Everything we see there, it's included.
Correct.
Or nothing sold separately, nothing, even the back.
No, I think there's like an international version. So the version that we sell in the US is just the stage. I think there's an international version that's sold in like Mexico and I think Brazil that has includes Goku on it.
Include a Goku on it? Oh.
But I'm not sure of the price. Obviously, the prices are much different in terms of other territories. But there is a version out there that has the character included. But most folks, if you're buying this, you probably already have a couple characters to start with, right? But if you're going to start collecting, like this is sort of one of the ones that you want to have, just so you can start, putting stuff in the right place.
Well, that's good to know. So it's already out there, right?
It's already out. It's available at on GameStop, Amazon. You can get at Target. Online. They're everywhere. So they're not hard to find.
Oh, that's good to know. So there is not enough stock over there. So, because some other products from some other brands, they get sold out very fast, and there are these resellers and things like that. So it's an important thing that Bandai thinks about having enough stock for people and avoid these practices. Reselling, it's kind of killing the love for collecting for some people, because they say, okay, so this guy bought 30 of these figures and now I have to buy it for 3 times the price, or nah, just never mind, I won't.
Yeah,
so
it's tricky, right? I mean, on a pure business side, right, you have to figure out how much to order to make at the factory, right, and when is it going to arrive, and you're always sort of catching up, and you're always trying to guess how much people are going to want of something 5-6 months ahead of time, right? So sometimes you get it, sometimes you have to chase it a little bit, but we always like to have a nice little stock up front, right? So there's always sort of like a safety stock that we have sort of in the back garage somewhere, and then we monitor our retailers all the time, and we can predict like, oh, based off of how many people are buying now, we have 6 weeks more worth of inventory, right? In which case then we'll talk to the factory and we'll order more, and by the time we get them we'll catch up. But it's like a little game that you're always playing to make sure that you have enough for people that want it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's good to know that you have enough in stuff. But coming back to Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball whatever, there is something else, right? There is a new line coming.
There's a new line. Actually, there's 2 new lines. I'm going to give you a bonus. So I'm going to put them both on here. Yes, I know. So I'm going to leave this one here. And so our first one up, this is the Attack Collection, right? So we're starting off with 2. We have Goku and Vegeta. And what's great about these guys is that they have a feature that we haven't really seen before in a while. So let me take Goku right here, right? So first of all, the overall craftsmanship is like really, really good. So if I give him a close up on the camera, right? If I get him straight, like even the face, like it's pretty good,
Yeah.
right? And there's a little like a try me feature on the back. You see that little lever? So when you use that lever and you push it back, it
Oh,
goes forward, right? So he says it's Kamehameha, right? So it's a nice smooth motion. I hope it's translating. It's not too skippy on the camera, but if you can see it here, it's nice and smooth, right? It's still in the package, and he's not going to fall out. So there's these little strips there that keeps him in there. But once you take him out of the package and you stand him up, like it's a nice smooth motion. So that's Goku version here, right? Let me put him here, and then we have Vegeta version, right? And again, like even just looking at the face, like really cool. And then he comes across that way, right?
ah, great.
So he has their signature moves. And so both of these guys are going to be $14.99. And they stand about 7 inches high, right? But they're crouching down. So if they're actually standing up, they're closer to like 11 inches, right? So that is the attack collection, right? And they're going to be available starting in like April, May as well, right? So you'll be able to see them, and they'll be available on store and Amazon and pre-sale, that kind of stuff. So these are brand new. They haven't happened before. And then, as a special little surprise,
Yay! That's
this
what I was looking
is
for.
a new thing that we're going to be coming out with, which is this is the power up pack, right? So basically, it takes your favorite Dragon Stars collection and it adds accessories, right? So we have like the little energy aura here, and we have this raises to like 3 different heights, and we can see we have all these different accessories. So the whole point is to recreate moments that fans recognize. Like remember that time when Goku got his Super Saiyan 2 form for the first time, right? We want to be able to recreate that scene. So we have the aura, we have the energy blast, right? And basically what it looks like on package with Vegeta here, right? Like we can see, like there's a whole lot of stuff in that box, right? And even the back, it shows everything that you're getting, right? Brand new artwork, and it really tells that story that we want to be able to tell in the box. And this is going to be for $24.99. So, which is really great. It's a nice, big, hefty package. The artwork looks super cool on both sides. And that'll be available, depending on the retailer, also in the next, month or two. So, whether it's the Power Up collection here or whether it's the Attack collection here, we're really happy that we're able to have, 2 brand new products that are going to be out to market. And I hope they do well. Pre-sales have been pretty good, so we're really excited about it.
People, actually accessories, I don't know if you have looked for them, but good quality accessories are even one stand. It can be even maybe 20 to 30 bucks, just one stand. So this having these high quality Bandai products for 24.99,
Yeah,
it's a great deal.
And it comes in the box, right?
And it
so
comes in the
it's going to
box.
fit. It's going to be the right size and the right scale, right? And it really is about satisfying that consumer demand, right? And so we're listening to consumers all the time, and I read the message boards and what people are posting, and people are making their own things from hand, right? And so when I'm talking to my research and development team saying, you know what, a whole lot of fans, they're making their own accessories or they're buying them, of folks who just are limited supply. We're like, well, we can do that on a large scale for something that is going to fit in the box and be the right scale for the characters. So we're really excited about those two.
I think that I figured out what is Bandai's plan. You're sneaking your way into dioramas, huh?
Well, we have a good first step, right? But it really is about recreating the story, right? Because that's why even action figures do well in the first place, right?
Yeah.
One thing is having a cool looking action figure, right? Which is great in and of itself. But in order to get to that next level, does it tell the story? Does it remind people of that thing that they watched, right? And if you answer that question, then the next logical question after that is, well, can you recreate those key moments? And if you're going to recreate those key moments, then you're going to need stuff besides just a cool looking character. You're going to need the setting, right? You're going to need people to have sort of that conflict which means you need to be able to have two different characters together, pose them, have energy blasts, right? So even if you look, and I'm going to move these on here, and I'm kind of doing this on the fly. So imagine if you have these Dragon Star characters, and then you combine them, right, with the Tenkaichi Budokai stage, and then, you put them from here to here. Like, there's a whole lot of things that you can do that really expands the storytelling to even recreate your own stories, or remember old ones, or, sort of recapture why you even became a fan in the first place.
That's yeah, and that's looking forward for any future stage. I can imagine what kind of a stage are you talking about. Dragon Ball is very famous for that. So field stages where these mountains and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
round trees, things like that. I can figure out maybe that would be the thing, but I guess you cannot say anything because you
Not
might
yet.
get in trouble. But I understand that. So Cisco, we have a very good relationship with Bandai Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you can tell us maybe what's coming for Latin America, Mexico, down south of the border. Do you have any idea what's coming on? So what can we expect coming over here?
Well, the way that our business works overall is that all the different territories, whether it's South America, Mexico, Australia, UK, Germany, we all sort of meet around the same time, and we discuss and we talk about what new characters are happening, right? And then we sort of plan for it that way. So it's just a matter of what's going to come out when. So everything that you've seen here, it's actually up to the individual territories to figure out, is this a good time to put out this particular character, right? So let's say we have, a new version of Goku, right? He has special hair, whatever it might be that's brand new. We'll talk with our factory. The factory says, we're thinking of making this new character, right? And we say, wow, that's great. Based off of the other characters that we're releasing, we think it'll be a good time to release this new version Christmas of 21, right? And then I'll talk with my counterparts in the other countries, and I'm saying hey, I'm thinking about releasing this one in Christmas of 21. What do you think, right? And depending on who thinks it might be a good idea, others might say, you know what, I'm just started launching in my territory for the first time. I want to hold off a little bit, or I want to have a new different assortment. So it's not like there aren't new products coming out all the time. There are. It's just really when each country is going to put out that particular character, right? So as far as the Attack collection, I don't know if the other territories have gotten a hold of it yet, right? And a lot of times they look to the US to see how is it performing, right? And if we can tell them, since we came out earlier than them, saying you know what, this thing is doing great, right? Then they might say, oh, well, let me order some, right? Or I'm going to introduce this into my particular market. And vice versa. If we see a particular character is doing really well in another country, we might see how many of these Dragon Stars characters are out there, because there's 50 plus characters by this Christmas that we're going to be able to come out with, and that's a lot, right? And obviously you're not going to have all 50 in one store. That's just not realistic, right? But we want to be able to find out which characters do best in which countries, right? For whatever reason, there may be a huge Vegeta fan base in Brazil, right?
Mhm.
But versus in the US, it's all about Goku. So why is that? So these are things that I think about all the time to figure out what's going to
Yeah,
be the right product at the right time.
I see. So I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. Is the accessories line is out already for sale, or it's on
It's going to be
pre-sale?
pre-selling relatively soon. So if you were to check online, probably the next 3 to 4 weeks, by the time you publish this post, your fans should be able to order it online.
Okay, so well, yeah, we are going to ask for the link so they can go
Of
over
course.
there and ask for it. Since the last time you had this 40th anniversary of Pac-Man
Oh,
over there,
yeah.
any plans for that, or that you can tell us? I know maybe you don't have anything ready, but I said, he has been with this since December, so maybe there is something coming.
Well, I mean, it is 40 years of Pac-Man, right? And so Bandai Namco, as a corporation overall, I mean, we own the Pac-Man IP, and we have our games division, right?
Hmm.
And they have the console versions that they play with, and we have our Pac-Man Connect and Play. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You know what that is, right? It's like it's like $20. It has 12 classic games. You plug it in, and then off you go, right?
Yeah,
So
it's over here.
yeah, so that has been performing really well, just like season in, season out, and it's really simple. You know what you're getting. When it comes to something new with Pac-Man, we usually follow what our games division does, right? Because we want something that's going to be innovative enough, that's different, right? That's going to be what fans really want, right? But we also want to make sure that we are talking to the same fans, because if our games division is making a new version of Pac-Man, right? We want to make sure that we're not going to be stepping on their toes, right? In terms of their messaging. And overall, like for Pac-Man's 40th anniversary, we've done lots of partnerships already. So there's like a Tamagotchi that we released recently. That's like the Pac-Man version. We're in the middle of a promotion with the NBA Basketball Association, right? That they have like a mobile app, and we've done some things with them. Obviously, with COVID, it's been a little bit different with like sporting events, right? So the 40th anniversary will continue probably for another half year or so. But there's lots of things that we plan on doing with our sister division in games, and a lot of really exciting things are going to be in the future.
Okay. For Batman. Now that you mentioned Bandai Namco,
Mm-hmm.
there's something that calls my attention because you have a franchise that has a lot of characters, and I
Yes.
feel like in toys, maybe it hasn't been. Maybe there are not so many toys from Bandai, or maybe affordable toys like any others. And I'm talking about Tekken.
Mm-hmm.
Any, do you know any plans or something to maybe release some Tekken views, because you have a lot of characters to pick up?
Correct. So it's funny, right? When you're making an action figure, and we sort of talked about this before. There's lots of different things that you're looking at. One is, can you make something that's going to, we call in the industry toyetic, right? Is it going to make for a good action figure, right? Is it going to be recognizable? Is it going to be unique? The other thing that we think about is, are enough fans who want it are going to be able to get it, right? So for a property like Tekken, obviously it's a huge video game, right? And there's tons of characters out there, and there's lots of different versions. We have to ask ourselves, and I have an opinion about it, is our gaming community, are they also the people who are going to want to collect action figures, right? And I would say a solid amount of people in the gaming community do collect those kind of things, right? The question is, are they going to collect enough of them all over the world in order to create action figures for it, right? So the question is, like, what's that quantity going to be, right? If we only, anticipate the demand is going to be like 5,000 action figures, then we might need more in order just to turn on the machine to make more, right? So there's lots of things involved, but we are thinking about it all the time, right? And obviously you can go into stores and you can see lots of action figures that are based on video games, right? But as far as like Bandai Namco as an organization corporately, right? We have folks that we're thinking about, how can we collaborate with other divisions, whether it's with Tekken, whether it's with Gundam, whether it's with any of the other properties that we either work or license with, right? And we want to be able to create a cohesive plan that's consistent, that helps expand and tell that story from one interpretation of the property, like a video game, all the way through to an action figure, right? So there's lots of steps that need to be on there, but we're always thinking about all the time. It's just a matter of, do we think it's the right time and the right place to launch something new, right? So Dragon Stars has only really been in the market like 3.5, 4 years. We're going on 4 years now, right? So if we're going to introduce something like a Tekken, like, when's that right time, right? Like, how long do we keep a Dragon Stars going? Because there's lots more characters and versions of characters in Dragon Ball that we can continue making,
Yeah.
right? And if we start something with Tekken, like, what does that mean for all the other action figures that we're doing, right? So it's stuff we always have to think about. I think it's a great idea. It's just a matter of, is it the right time?
Yeah, and with all this, and now in these times that we don't know what's going on, so I understand what do you mean. Cisco, any last statement, anything else you would like to tell us? Any surprise, any announcement, some kind of a Steve Jobs thing, like about, wait, there is
Oh,
something more.
and one more thing. Yeah. I guess Digimon, right? So you know what I'm talking about, Digimon, right? Let me I'm gonna pull one down. Like, hold on, like 3 seconds. I'm gonna jump off screen, and I'm gonna
Sure.
bring something really cool. Coming, coming. Sorry
That's
about
okay.
you can
That's
cut
okay.
this
Take
out.
your time. It's worth it.
You can cut this out in the edit. But over the last, I guess, 14 months, right? Tamagotchi's had a huge success, right? And we started making the Digimon, right? The 20th anniversary. And so we've had like 13 colors or whatever it is. And so we've come out with this new thing. It's been out already, but just now it's really taking up a lot of steam. And so this is our glow in the dark Digimon,
Great.
right? And you hold it under the lights just for a few minutes, and it glows really, really bright, right? So we're really happy with this one. This one has been selling more than all the other Digimon combined, right? And like in the States, this is going to be in Walmart in like the summertime. And so this is becoming more and more popular every month. Like I'm seeing sales go up and up and up. And I think people are just starting to discover it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all of these are available now, right? They're available on Amazon, GameStop, pre-sale. They're at Target. They're going to be at Walmart. So, as far as my and one more thing moment, I think Digimon is sort of like the little brand that could. And so we have some pretty exciting news that we're going to be announcing probably in the next 2 or 3 months for what's next for Digimon. But at least that's a little something that your fans can speculate on it and have a little bit of excitement about.
Yeah, maybe the internet forums will be roaring in the speculation. Reddit, subreddits, and all that should be doing the same.
Exactly.
And we really appreciate Cisco that you giving us these announcements. And as always, it's always a pleasure to speak with you. So well,
Awesome.
I hope that everything goes very well. I know for sure that Bandai is going to sell a lot of its products because well they are good quality. It's been like that for many years. One last thing you would like to say to people over there, America or Latin America?
Follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and we're actually doing some stuff on TikTok now. So just go to the Bandai website, bandai.com, and you can connect and follow us there.
That sounds great. A TikTok with Bandai figures
Mm-hmm.
sounds a good idea. Okay, well, thank you so very much for your time, Cisco, and we'll be looking forward for new announcements in maybe 2 or 3 months. It seems like yesterday since the last time we
I
spoke.
know. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. Take care.